Thank you, Dr. Arnab Das and the MRC for this opportunity to be present today amongst you all and listen to this absolutely fascinating presentation by Romit Kavre. Romit, congratulations. I liked your presentation. It was rich in data. It is an eye-opener for me, and it rang many bells in my mind. Just to encourage you, I must say that research is like evolution. It's a continuous process. But what I find, and I must mention this more for Dr. Das, is that many people take up a subject, delve into it for a while, and then leave it. Now, there is a critical mass of expertise which has to build up if the researcher is to serve the purpose of policy making. Uh, that has to come. Now, Rohit, you've caught on to this subject. I would urge you and I would hope that you won't leave it and carry on with this because you're already standing on a high ground. You can only grow taller from here. The second thing is I want to touch a personal chord. Many years ago in 1992, I had opportunity to be on board the INS Investigator. That was when I was staff officer to the Army Chief and we were on a visit to Andaman Nicobar. And something which we were briefed by at that time the vice chief of naval staff, Surinder Prakash Govil, SP Govil, Vice Admiral SP Govil was the vice chief, who was with us. And in that briefing, of course, he covered the Great Bengal fan, the Andaman fan, but he the admiral just referred to. He said that if sediment carried by rivers and deposited along their banks as alluvium is gold, why is the same sediment, once it reaches the sea, become tinsel? So he at that time foresaw that there is value in what we are calling tinsel. Sediment has value. How we harness that for our good may not be now, but in a 10-year perspective or a later perspective, is something which we should reckon and factor in. Now, I'm not a technical man, I'm a bureaucrat, so I will take a bureaucratic approach to this whole presentation. And there are two words, phrases in the title itself which catch my eye. One is framework based, and the second is Indo-Pacific. Now, when it comes to the framework, now the Article 84 of the UNCLOS, we have now made an application to the CLCF for extending our continental shelf. Once that happens and the approvals come, then we would have seabed area which almost equals our land area. But as a government, as a nation, are we placing, there is enough riches under the seabed as there is perhaps on land, maybe even more. So what are the mechanisms we have for harnessing the wealth which is there in those seabeds is the point which I want to raise. And here comes an aspect which Dr. Das has raised in his opening remarks. That is about the fragmentation among stakeholders. This is the real problem. Take sedimentation itself. Under the allocation of business rules, the subject of deep ocean survey and exploration, this is allotted to the Ministry of Earth Sciences. Whereas river sedimentation comes under the ambit of the Ministry of Water Resources. No harm in that. But is there a collaborative arrangement between the two? Is there an exchange of the science and data between the two? Are they working in silos? Is something which will have to be kind of overcome. Then we have a beautiful, a mission of the Prime Minister called Sagar Manthan. No mention of a seabed in that. In fact, I thought both the poison and the Amrit came out of the seabed. But there is no cement in the Sagar Manthan. So I think the scope of the Sagar Manthan should be enlarged to cover even sedimentation and a deeper analysis of the seabed. Now, one of my naval friends whom I went to, because the subject was such, I thought I should refer it to a few of my friends. And he mentioned that, he mentioned the NCPOR, the NCPOL, the INCOIS, the CMLRE. These are the various organizations which are dealing, but the mandates of none of these organizations really makes a mention of seabed and sediment management. So here again, we, we need to kind of see that there is an institutional kind of ownership of the seabed somewhere with someone. Maybe a new agency, it would really merit that. The other point which I wanted to make, and which Dr. Das and Ronald both mentioned, is the quality of research, what is available. This is a data-driven field. Data is gold here more than anything else, anywhere else perhaps. Now, when it comes to our own EEZs, there is data being collected. There are provisions for private players to collect data. But this data has to be captive and available to, it can't be commercially exploited without the country knowing what the data is. So the institutional arrangements for collation of that data, for enforcing their submission, is something which have to be brought in. You have the Offshore Areas Mineral Development Act, which was enacted in 2010, but then the rules under that act were notified only in 2024. So, if that is the kind of urgency we have about ocean development as such, mineral wealth, then we have a lot to kind of do it further. Now, point I want to make is about, on the global side, you have the ISA. The ISA now is also kind of, apportioning fields for research and commercial activity, but it is doing that for a global common. Now, when you do that for a global common, the data which is available to the ISA, which should be fed in by everybody, should be available equally to all its members. Now, India as a member, as a leader of the global south, must raise this and have a strong presence and a voice in the ISA to ensure the data availability to everyone, so that if there is a commercial exploitation in your near neighborhood outside your EEZ, you are a stakeholder, you have right of first refusal, something like that, where the proximity advantage should be available to a nation state. Now, Rohit made a very interesting point on the multi-data source integration. That caught my eye because it brings you immediately to a point: is who is going to collate? Is there an authority we have? I don't see that authority yet. It should correctly be the Indian Navy, and it should be the Navy who should be the first obtainer of any data which is being collected. So, of course, we have the Mahasagar project, where again, we should have this as a. Yeah, that's the points which I wanted to make. I won't take too much of time. Once again, thank you, Dr. Das. This is a pleasure, really.